What's up, light bearers? Welcome to Light Tap. My name is Melissa.
And I'm Emily.
And today we are going to be talking about
boundaries. Dun, dun, dun.
This is just a disclaimer real quick that this is just a light tap into this subject. If we say anything out of context, if we say anything that does not make sense to you, please take this as a reminder to open up your Bibles, to study it for yourself, to go find context for yourself, and then come back to this video, leave it in the comments below where we messed up.
Exactly.
So that we can correct ourselves too.
Yes.
But this is just going to be a light tap. This is just going to be a conversation about boundaries between us, our history with boundaries, our ups and downs about boundaries, and everything else in between. So, what do you feel? What do you think when you hear the word boundaries?
Space. That's my first
thought
that comes to my mind when I think about boundaries is space.
Okay.
I am.
¿Y qué te hace sentir eso? Like, do you feel like como que necesitas boundaries, como que te gustan, o como que like when you hear alguien decir boundaries, como que you're like, hold up, what? Like it stops you in your tracks.
So I am a big social person, but because I'm a big social person, I also need a lot of time to recharge from all the socializing. And whenever I have given so much time to people that when I need that space and I'm not there, well, they try to get in and I'm just like, hold up, right now is my quiet time. I don't even want to hear my own voice. I just want to relax and lay and be quiet. And they're like, why are you so depressed? Why are you? No, I'm not. I just need a minute, like a peace and quiet. On the other side, sometimes like if I am super close to someone and I'm like, no, like this is my friend, like whatever, like I can be as close as I want to, and they're like, I need some space, boundaries. And I am like, what do you mean? Like, no, I'm your friend. And they're like, no, I need boundaries. And I'm just like, no, I'm here. It is what it is. And if you really don't want me, kick me out.
Wow.
So it's like, yes, in the sense of space, like I need my own time, my own space to recharge my energy. But at the same time, when I also am on the go and I'm ready and I'm open, it's like, not that I don't have a sense of boundaries. It's more like with my people, there's no space. I will literally have random people come up and hug me from the back, or like shake my hair, or like just grab, like they'll grab my hand and they'll like put their hand in or grab me from the waist. Yeah. And I'm just like, there's no sense of boundaries. Like no space with certain people, which if I did have a huge problem with it, I would say something. Yeah. But there's a time and place for everything. And there's moments where you need that boundary and sometimes you don't need it. But obviously, sin cruzarse la línea, right?
La invisible línea.
Yes.
Boundaries. I like boundaries. But because
we know.
I have... What do you mean? I like boundaries because I have been the one to set boundaries. El problema va a ser cuando my kid starts setting boundaries with me when he gets older. I don't know how I'm going to take it. Exactly. Which I don't know. I haven't thought about it until right now. Like, I'm cool with boundaries. I like boundaries. I like to set them. I set them for a lot of people, whatever. But I'm like, hold up. ¿Cómo va a ser el día cuando like mi kid me diga like, boundaries. Hey, you cannot cross this line. Like, you do not tell me what to do anymore. I'm gonna be, I don't know, I'm gonna be confused. But we're talking about boundaries, and boundaries a lot in the sense of like parent-kid, but also boundaries in the sense of like friendships and
relationships, different types of relationships,
all types. So we are gonna jump right into our Bible verses
verses
as we go in this episode.
Okay, we got a couple.
But this is one that we like to start. I like to start with.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure once in your life you've heard this verse.
I mean, we'll see. Okay. This one is from Exodus 20:12, and it says, honor your father and your mother so that you may live long in the land and the Lord your God is giving you.
Éxodo 20:12 dice, obedezcan y cuiden a su padre y a su madre, así podrán vivir muchos años en el país que les voy a dar. Have you heard this?
Every Saturday, like, no, not Saturday, every Sunday Bible church, I'd be like, you better listen, I'm gonna call your parent. No, I don't care. You better listen to your parents because that's what the Lord wants. And they will pull up this Bible. Yeah, they will pull up this Bible verse. I'll be like, I know.
Have this ever been applied to you?
Let me see. I wasn't a wild child. I had an attitude problem, but I wasn't wild. I had. That says it all.
Y'all saw that neck move? Had. You need to evaluate.
More like, okay, look. My parents, they raised me to be very respectful to my elders.
Yeah. Which you are.
I am. I know I am. But when it comes to certain people, when you give me cuerda and you give me that edge and that permission to be friendly with you, as like you're not just a grown-up to me, now you're a friend grown-up. Like it has been, now that I'm older, back in the day it was like I'm friend. Now that I'm older, it has been put on me to put that boundary with the grown-ups, to be like, I'm your friend, but I'm a grown-up too now.
Oh yeah, like don't treat me as a kid.
And it's been hard because they're like, what do you mean? I'm a grown-up. Who are you, a squinkle? And I'm just like, no, I'm a grown-up too. I'm putting my foot down. These are my boundaries, or respect them, or we're not talking.
Yeah.
And it has been hard. So hard for people to take me seriously, because these people are people that have seen me grow up.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, who are you?
Digamos, I mean, if you put yourself in their positions, es como que tú ahorita, que alguien que tú conoces de los hipotíos, que tú cuidas o lo que sea, que de repente they grow up and they start telling you things. Es como que tú lo vas a ver like, what the hell are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I was there changing your diaper. What are you going to come and teach me?
Exactly.
So es difícil.
It is very difficult. So in that sense, you know, I have always been taught that, like, even if you're wrong, even if you're right and the grown-up is wrong, you need to let them have that moment. Yeah. Because you're a grown-up, you're not. Well, guess what? I'm a grown-up now too.
Yeah.
So I am going to put my foot down.
For sure.
Which is really hard to do when they're a little bit older than you are, because they don't take your boundaries as seriously. Oh,
they don't, girl.
They're like, what? Boundaries who? I don't know what that over means. This line real quick. You don't need boundaries. Yeah. There is no boundaries allowed.
Yeah.
And it's not, I'm not talking about parents. I'm talking about grown-ups.
Everybody, honestly. Like parents, friends, aunts, cousins, the lady at the store. Like todo el mundo.
Everyone. So in that sense, when I do try to put boundaries, it has been like something that, like, okay, well, if I'm not close to you, you don't listen. All right, you know what? I don't even see you that often enough to care about it.
Yeah.
Live and let live. But if I see you all the time and I am really close to you and you don't listen, oh no, now we have to lay down the law. Like, you live your life, I'm trying to live my life.
Yeah.
But if you don't respect this one boundary that I'm asking you to, you're not respecting me.
Do you feel like you have had to let people know of your boundaries, or do you feel like your actions have spoken by themselves, donde la gente ya automáticamente sabe que tiene boundaries?
I think it's been a little bit of both. I think there could have been times where I could have spoken up, but because I have immense respect for the adults in my life that I cherish and I love and I care for, it's been more of like, I also don't want to offend, because I have a solid relationship with you, that I do not want you to take whatever I'm saying to heart and be like, now I'm hurt. You have offended me. And it's really hard,
like a really
to the
fine line.
To the point that I have been like, all right, now you have crossed the line. I have let it pass too many times. Ooh. It's also my fault because I have not made it clear.
Yeah.
That now I'm like, oh shoot. Well, you know what, ma'am? Let me set you straight real quick. And it's not a fun thing to do. It's funny. It's definitely funny. We laugh about it.
Después.
But later. But in the moment, I'm like, you want to be friends with me? You want to keep me in your life, right? This one thing that I'm asking you, it's hurting me, and you keep bringing it up.
Yeah.
Even though that's in the past, but you keep bringing it up, you keep bringing it up, you keep bringing it up. It has nothing to do with my life now, but you still bring it up.
Yeah.
Because you want to reminisce in the past. I don't. Yeah. I don't want to do that. So either you stop because now it's affecting my life, or you know what? I guess we're gonna have a limit contact.
Yeah.
And it was really hard. I had this conversation with 3 different people.
The same conversation
over and over until eventually I was like, you know what? This is the last time I'm gonna say it. Mm-hmm. And if you don't want to listen anymore, then that's on you.
That sounds like a you problem.
That's on you.
Yeah.
And it was so hard. But it wasn't until they realized, oh shoot, she's mad, she's serious, like she means that, and I don't want to lose my friendship with her. They were like, all right, we're not gonna bring it up anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom, ella, you know, we cuando nosotros, I didn't grow up in church. Like I was 15 cuando fuimos a la iglesia. Entonces my mom didn't know this verse. Thank God.
If she did,
but she would have pulled it out like every single day.
Yep.
3 times a day. Pero después de que empezamos a ir a la iglesia, she would be like, saying this. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. I should honor you.
Yeah.
Y yo creo que en nuestra cultura, like Hispanic people, nos engraved in us de que tenemos que siempre cuidar a nuestros parents.
Yes.
Que siempre tenemos que cuidar a los elders. Que siempre quedamos like, okay, si tú miras una señora o lo que sea, like siempre da tu asiento para que la persona ella, like honoring them.
Yeah.
Si ellos, like if they're in line, like ayúdales o déjalos que vayan primero, like you put yourself second. And I'm like, that is great. And all, I like the fact that we have these values instilled in us, pero tenemos que poner boundaries. There are some things, nada más porque you're old doesn't mean
that you get a pass.
That you get a pass on everything and anything. Like, I am going to set some lines to where, like, this is how I protect me and you, because boundaries are not just like a one-way thing. It's like both ways, right? Like, I'm not just protecting me, I'm also protecting you, because if you cross my boundary, or if you continue to like do things and say things that I have already explained to you that I don't like, then it's gonna make me now act in a way that I don't want to. De que te puede ofender, de que te puede lastimar, que puede whatever in your heart. So I'm like, in my case, I haven't had to tell people boundary. Well, actually, yes, I have had to tell my mom de que, okay, there are some things that I'm like, okay, like example, we are going to El Salvador.
Yes.
We are going to El Salvador soon, and I am making future plans. And I told my mom about these plans, and she said, I cannot do those plans.
Okay.
And she said that it doesn't matter what I say or any. Well, this was before today, actually.
Okay.
She was like, no me importa what you have to say, blah, blah, blah. The answer is no. I'm like, why didn't I ask you a question? I'm like, I didn't. I'm not asking you for permission. You. I'm letting you know to start getting ready. And she was like, well, no. A mí no me importa. I don't care how old you are. I don't care that you're married. I'm your mom.
She pulled the mom card out. Yeah. Ooh, okay.
And so I was like, okay, I have to honor you. And I have honored you. I have. And I'm going to continue to honor you. In the future, I'm going to still honor you, but differently. However, I am 32 years old. I am a grown woman who has a husband,
has a whole home,
has a child of her own. So thank you for your opinion and advice. I will honor that, but I will not be doing that.
Be like, I have considered it and I have taken your opinion into
and the
consideration.
Answer still, no me importa.
Yeah, I'm still gonna do it.
I'm still gonna do it. And so it has been like that where I'm like, dude, like, are we still having this conversation, Mom? Yeah. And I think that even like with my sister's 50 something years old. She's like 52, 53. She still be acting like that with my sister.
Oof.
And so I'm like, okay. Which again, she has been, it was hard at first because I really did not understand how she grew up. Like I would hear how she grew up and I could never imagine myself in her position or in the way that she grew up. So I couldn't understand her until when I got much older. And I was like, oh, this is why you think like this. This is why you act like this. This is why you do this. Not because it's just you y nada más porque quieres ser así, porque quieres molestar, lo que sea, pero es porque like they raised you like this. Now, she tried raising me like that. I'm from a different breed, I think.
I'm from a different branch.
Yeah, yo no sé qué pasó. Then I was like, nah. I don't like that.
What?
I'm against that. And so it's been hard for her también because she wants like for me to follow whatever she has been taught. And again, I'm like, yeah, I'll take some of it, but not all.
Yeah.
So it's like boundaries there that she has such a hard time.
And you know, like you also got to remember that sometimes parents want to live through us.
Yeah.
They want to be able to be like, she succeeded where I couldn't, or like I'll live vicariously through her. She has a family that I didn't get to have, so I feel so happy and I feel like accomplished because she's accomplished. And I think that's sweet. I think that's something that should be. Yeah, it's not a bad thing. But I also think that parents should realize, okay, there's a time where parenting is over. And I understand that they always say, yo tu madre soy, tu madre seré por el resto de tu vida. And I understand.
You're right.
It is very true.
You're right.
But there's one thing of being a mother and mothering. You will be my mother forever. And I love you and I appreciate it. But you're not going to have to mother me anymore.
Exactly.
Why? Because you have already mothered me to a full grown adult that I already know between good and right. I have already accepted the Lord. Or if you haven't, you know, there's still time. And I am able to make my own decisions, earn my own income, create my own family. So thank you for your input, but I may or may not take it into consideration, but at this point I kind of don't need it anymore.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, I feel like it's always nice to have,
it's nice to hear it, and it's nice to have
like let me hear what you think or whatever, because always getting different perspectives creo que es como bueno.
It's good.
A veces,
it's definitely good,
pero no in the sense of like, bueno, tenés que hacer lo que te dije.
Yeah.
Ahí es un poquito diferente. Like, yes, I can take your opinions and everything, but let me, at the end, trust in you. Trust that you did a good enough job.
Oh my goodness.
Hold on. Make my own decisions.
I'm having flashbacks. I remember. Okay.
What you want to say?
I had a moment in my life where I was making certain decisions, and I remember my parents being like, no se va a hacer eso porque yo dije que no y punto se acabó. And I said, thank you, but this is a personal decision that I am making. I don't need your permission, and I'm also not asking you for permission. I'm letting you know out of respect for you, so you are aware. Did I have to tell you? No, I don't have to tell you.
Yeah.
But I'm letting you know because, one, I'm still under her roof. And two, I'm like, you don't have to provide for me because you technically don't. The only thing you provide is a roof over my head. Everything else I do myself. But I just want to keep you in the loop. Because she is a prayer warrior and I appreciate it, and any prayer you can give I appreciate it. So I'm like, hey, you work for me too. It's fine. So I remember she'd be like, bueno, con tal que tú ya te mandas tú sola, you don't need a mother. She was basically saying like, well, at the end of the day, you boss your own self. I don't need to tell you anything because you're not gonna listen anyways. And as the time went on, she was eventually she realized the decisions I was making made sense. And then eventually,
it's funny when that happens.
When family members and friends came along to visit, oh yeah, she made this choice and look how well it has turned out, and she's so smart. And I was like, where was that? Where was that when I had given you that information? Where I was just letting you know, I'm just letting you know. Now they're like, oh yeah, she's so smart. Like that was such a good decision. But back then you were like, no.
You were so against it.
You were so against it because you felt you knew better. Which, let's be honest, grown-ups are grown-ups. They have lived more life than we have. And sometimes they do know better, but
sometimes they don't.
The life that they have lived is not the life that we are living.
Yeah.
You know?
Es muy diferente. Los tiempos son muy
not only
diferentes.
The tiempos, we're in a different age bracket that the opportunities that maybe they didn't have, we have now. You know, especially if you come from another country, which my parents have. The opportunities that I have had, they did not have over there, to where they couldn't see the end result because they didn't experience that. They couldn't imagine how it was going to play out. And when it did, they were like, all right, we are happy now because it has worked out. But if it didn't work out, best believe they would be like, didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you?
Lo primerito que te van a decir, exactamente. And so that's a great segue into our next verse. Are you ready?
Yes.
English,
okay, this is from Ephesians 6:4, and it says, fathers, do not exasperate your children. Instead, bring them up in the training and instruction of the Lord.
Efesios 6:4 dice, y ustedes padres, no hagan enojar a sus hijos. Let me text this to my mom real quick. No hagan enojar a sus hijos. Más bien, edúquenlos y denles enseñanzas cristianas.
Yeah.
Perfect. Porque it's like, yes, I think that parents should set boundaries with their kids, as in like, hey, también, because I'm a parent now, so I can be like, hey, with my kid, I have boundaries where I'm like, hey, we're cool. We can, talk like friends and everything else. You can tell me everything. However, do not get disrespectful with me. There are lines that we do not cross because you do have to honor me. You may be in desacuerdo conmigo, pero hay maneras de estar de desacuerdo donde like no me faltas el respeto.
Yeah.
But also, I've had to bring this up to myself and be like, I need to also make sure that I am not the one that is bringing my kid or the other person that I'm with, whether it's my husband, whether it's my friend, that I'm not making you upset to where now you have to pop off. Because en eso no fue tu culpa, sino fue la mía, porque yo estuve pushing buttons.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, a lot of us like to set boundaries, but again, cuando like we also, as much as we set boundaries for everybody else, también tenemos que set boundaries for ourselves, donde like no vamos a estar provocando a la otra gente a ira. You know, so have you ever had to like put certain boundaries for you, whether that's with your friends or whoever else, donde sin ellos decirte tú, you were like, you know what? Let me chill out. Let me take a step back and figure something out.
I think there's been a couple times, not necessarily recent. Me and you, we've had recent moments, but it's been more of like back in the past.
Okay, like what? Remind me.
Where I was so used to being your third wheel that I was already accustomed to hearing and seeing certain things.
Okay.
Especially in your marriage.
Okay.
That when eventually you had certain things come up, not recent. Okay, just so you know. I wasn't accustomed to walking away. I was more of like, I don't care, I'm in it. Yes, how? What happened? What happened now? And then I was so used to like you and Oscar would be like, right, Emily, I'm right, Emily, right? And he would turn around as he was driving, he was like, Emily, back me up. And I'd be like, I'm not taking a side. I'm just here listening. I'm just an innocent bystander. If you want advice, I will give it. But do you really want it from me? Probably not, because I was really young back then. Yeah. But
he
eventually
just somebody to applaud whatever the hell he was saying, probably.
Yes, but eventually as time went on, there was certain things and certain conversations which I totally respect. You were like, this is not for you to listen, this is something like walk away. I didn't understand that. You had already accustomed me to years of like you sitting and you're listening. I'm like,
what are you talking about?
I'm in this relationship. What you talking about? So it was really hard for me to get the hint of like walk away. Like this between me and my husband. Yeah. Because Oscar didn't care. He didn't say anything. It was more of like, I'm gonna just shut up. But he would never tell me to walk away. He never did. Even to this moment, he never tells me. Yeah. It was more you telling me I need a second. And I'd be like, okay. So, but it took a couple times for you to say that for me to learn when I could stay, when I could leave. And it wasn't necessarily bad, like you were angry towards me, which you were looking angry, but it wasn't towards me. Yeah. But I had to really like take a second and keep in mind, I'm still inching towards adulthood. I wasn't a full adulthood. I wasn't a full adult yet. Yeah. But I was inching towards there. So it took me a second to realize, hey, like this is a serious adult conversation that I don't need to be a part of. Yeah. There's some things that should stay in a marriage between a husband and a wife and not a third person, because sometimes you want to bring in too many people into your relationship that have no business being in your relationship, that may give you unwarranted advice that maybe instead of talking to somebody else, you should be talking to your partner. So it took me a long time to understand, like, no, not understand, but to figure out when I could stay and when I could leave. They were funny moments. It wasn't all hard. It was or harsh. It was more of like I was so accustomed to being your third wheel that eventually I was like, okay, this is between them. I don't need to be involved, even if it's a funny situation. Now I understand if you I need a second or like wait outside. I'm like, all right.
Oh yeah,
I'm
or
stepping
like
out.
Or like don't laugh at this. Like I know it sounds funny.
Yes, and I'll be like, oh shoot, it's a funny situation. I'll be like, all right. I'm like, I'm just smiling and I'm looking down. Yeah, I'm not saying anything.
Do not laugh.
I'm just looking down. I cannot look up because if I do, I will burst out laughing, and then you're gonna be mad at me. That's not something that I need right now. Yeah. That was a funny one. Yeah.
Yeah, that has happened, but I'm glad that en ese respeto that que like I had towards you, because I was like, hey, I like if you say something that I didn't ask for, don't want to hear right now.
Oh, you would tell me
that, like things like that. Like I'm glad that it was like like I was able to communicate with you versus just bursting out and like lashing out on you when you had nothing to do with the problem, because no era contigo, era con otra persona. And then I'm also glad de que tú también había el respeto mutuamente, donde you were like able to accept that and not take it very personal. Like, oh, she she doesn't like me, or she's just being mean to me, or
for sure,
rude, or lo que sea. It was more of like, oh shoot, like I see your boundary, I hear your boundary, and like let me actually step on this side.
Yes, and it was a learning curve for sure.
On both ends. Because yo también he tenido que aprender a hablarte a ti y hablarle a la gente, where it's like, hey, like let me make sure, like, yes, I know that you know my heart, pero also like let me make sure that my heart and my mouth match.
Because we all know Winnie has a face of 1,000 expressions. So either you get it or you don't.
Exactly. And sometimes it's like my face may be thinking something, but my heart and my mind don't.
Oh, Lord.
So, yeah, like I think it's like the respect of each other that is like super important when it comes to these boundaries. Porque también, I feel like
And that's the thing. A lot of people think like when you think boundaries, you're like, oh shoot, it's a negative.
Exactly.
They don't want me in their lives. They don't want me involved. Well, why don't you? Let me break down your walls.
Yeah.
No, sometimes, like you said, boundaries sometimes are needed not only for the other person, but also for yourself, because you're trying to protect yourself and you're trying to protect the other person. Because sometimes it's not good to be all in the know, because sometimes something that you probably didn't care, probably didn't need to know, eventually you do end up knowing, or you find out because you broke through that boundary, and now you're pissed off for no damn reason. Dang, sorry. So it's like,
boundaries are there for a reason.
They're there for a reason.
Okay. Cuando dice no trespassing.
But if I need to know, I need to know.
Yes.
Eventually.
We've been there too.
We have. Eventually, I find out, and I'm all pissed, and now I can't be pissed.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, ya pasó, Emily. I'm just letting you know that this and this happened.
I'm like, fine. I guess.
And you're like, go home and like punch the freaking pillow or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, all right, we're moving on to Am I the Jerk?
Oof. Okay, so this one says, am I the jerk for forcing my mom to abide by the boundaries she set herself?
No.
Ooh, she's trying to do
like,
takesy backsies, and she can't.
Oh no, reverse.
That's kind of hard, because it's kind of hard for parents to be like, no, I take it back. Like, because a lot of parents, either they're too prideful, or they're too I don't want to say arrogant, but they're too proud to be like, no, what I said was wrong. You know?
Mm-hmm. It is very hard to admit that you did something wrong, or that, like, you know what, this boundary that I said actually doesn't work. So let me take it back.
No, let me take it back. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I don't think that they're the jerk.
Okay.
Because if you said it, you can't be the one breaking it or not following it.
And you were the one who put it up in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Oof. Okay. It says more holiday drama for the drama gods.
Oh Lord, holiday drama.
So holiday, here we go. All right. It says, family situation is not awesome to start with, but they upped the ante and now want to backtrack. I'm okay with being the jerk if that's how it plays out, but I don't really see this as being as bad as my mom is making it out to be. My 25 female, oh, she's the 25 female, sorry. Dad died when I was 7. My mom remarried when I was 9 and had Jill, 15 female, and Janet, 13 female, with her new husband afterward. I have never liked her husband, as he seemed dead set on replacing my dad and winning me over in the most obvious and obnoxious way possible. I tolerated him as much as I could stand, but I have always refused to allow him to be called my dad or to act as if he is in any way. And when I moved out, I told him not to contact me unless something was wrong with my mom. I didn't feel anything towards Jill and Janet and avoided them. I didn't see them as siblings, even if they are my blood. This upset my mom and her husband, and I guess the kids, but there's nothing they can do about it. I can't feel what I don't feel, and I won't fake it. Sounds like someone I know. Since just that one last sentence. Okay.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Okay. Since I left home, I usually spend the holidays with my dad's parents, visit my mom without the others, and go to the reunion on her side where there are enough people that I don't have to deal with the others. This arrangement has been fine until last year when my mom asked me to stay with them. I declined. She asked me if it was because of her husband and the girls, and I said yes. I feel like keeping distance there is best. She told me if I'm not going to be a part of her family, to not come at all anymore. I said, okay, and still went to my grandparents and visited with members of the other side separately, but didn't see her or go to the big get-together. She lit my phone up like crazy, trying to get me to change my mind. It was embarrassing. This year, she asked when I wanted to get together with her, well, if I'm there, as if nothing happened. I told her I will respect her boundaries by not seeing her, since I'm not willing to play happy family with her husband and the kids. And she said that as a condition. She said that that wasn't what she meant, and she wants to see me. I told her she doesn't get to retract her ultimatum once laid out. If she wants to see me, she can travel to me without the others any time of the year. But I'm going to see my family for Christmas. And if she doesn't want to be included in that, she doesn't have to be. Anyway, got a long screed from her husband, essentially calling me a jerk. Jill apparently stalks my social media and tried trolling me, but I deleted her comments and blocked her without responding. I explained the situation to my grandparents on that side, and they say that my mom's husband gave her an ultimatum about me, so she's in a difficult place and doesn't know how to fix it. They suggested that my mom, and I have lunch to talk it out, but finding out that her husband was behind last year's issue makes me not want to deal with it even more. Oof. That's tough. First of all, okay, the question is she the jerk for making her mom keep her word, keeping the ultimatum, keeping up her boundary, which her boundary was like, if you don't want to play happy family, which I guess in this case means like be at least cordial with my husband and your stepbrothers and in this case stepsisters, or I don't want to see you. But she's like, this is what you said, that I'm gonna keep to what you said, and if you're trying to take it back, it's gonna have to be from your end, not mine. So do you think she's a jerk for making her mom keep her word? Let's just leave it at that. We'll break it down in a little bit because I also have a lot to say. But what do you think? Is she the jerk for trying to make her mom keep her word? She didn't say, hey, I'm I don't ever want to see you again. She said, you set this boundary. If you want to break it, come to me. I'm not coming to you.
No, yeah. I think that she's a jerk.
Okay, why?
There's a lot to play. I don't think that I can just break it down to that sentence and make a decision just based on that question.
There's alone. A lot to break down here.
There is a lot. Like, I feel like ella tiene tanto resentimiento que su papá se murió that it doesn't let her move on. No. Like, and freely and happily with what she has.
And I don't think her step family or her mom really helped her either. That didn't help the case. And I think it doesn't help.
It didn't help the case because it was just 3 years after her dad died. I don't know, from the sounds of it.
And she was old enough for it to leave a big impact on her.
Exactamente. Pero también I feel like if the new husband came in, okay, if he wanted to be called dad a la fuerza, creo que eso es súper feo y malo.
That's messed up.
Y eso daña más que ayuda. Pero a la misma vez, cuando somebody comes to a picture, I didn't grow up with a dad. My dad passed away, actually. Yeah. And I feel like I really wanted my mom to remarry forever. Yo siempre
because you wanted a dad.
Porque I wanted a dad. I wanted somebody to come in and act in that role. Yeah. Maybe I wouldn't start off calling him dad because you ain't my dad. But for him to act like that role, like step in and be it, I feel like I would have accepted, and maybe that would have made me at some point call him dad. Pero yo creo que no sé si just her resentimiento that her dad passed away made it even like harder. Him actually, like, okay, if he was trying to win her over, I'm wondering what did he do? Like, that was maybe in his eyes, he was like, I want to give you what your dad wasn't able to give you, and I don't want you to miss out on it. And then for her, it was like, this is obnoxious. Cuando probably his intentions were not that. And then I say that because su resentimiento is not even just with him.
It's with her mom too.
No, ni eso. Pero like, it's with the daughters después. Yeah. Where I'm like, why?
I think, let me answer your question.
She's only 10 years. She's only 10 years apart from her other sister.
I personally think that, one, she was like, here's another man who's trying to replace my father. 2, here's my mom getting pregnant. She's having another girl. Now they're trying to replace me. Now they had another child. Now they're trying to replace a family that I didn't get to have, that I didn't get to enjoy. Now, I want to break down this timeline because I want to mention two things. One, her dad died when she was 7. Her mom remarried when she was 9. I don't know what that timeline looks like. I don't know when the mom dated this new husband. I don't know how long she had known him to bring him around her daughter. But I feel like because of that timeline, this was a child. They were 7 years old. It was the mom's job to set boundaries between her daughter and her, lover at that time, boyfriend, whatever he was, to be like, hey, my child needs to grieve before they allow somebody else to take that role of a father.
And you think 3 years is not enough?
Well, that's my thing. That's what I'm saying. I don't know how fast she moved on. If she brought in another man too early, she did not give her daughter enough time to grieve. If she brought him later down the line where it was like, all right, it's been 2 years. Okay, but you just got to remember, this is a child. They haven't even hit puberty yet. They are still trying to figure out how to deal with their emotions. Kids don't know how to deal with their emotions. That's why they're constantly trying to test to see how far you're going to let them go. Now, if let's say that the mom didn't set those boundaries with the stepfather, didn't set boundaries with the child, didn't explain, didn't do anything to set the groundwork for a healthy family, then this is what's gonna happen. And unfortunately,
maybe,
if you think about it, you say like, oh well, who knows what he did to win her over. If he was trying to like, hey, let me be a father to you, let me take you out, let me buy you stuff, let me provide for you, whatever. But also, you're a grown-up. If you see something not working, don't just be like, oh, you're a child, you have to take it. Like, no, this is a person with their own feelings and thoughts. Don't take it upon yourself to be like, well, you have to listen because I know better. No, talk to this little person and try to figure it out.
But the little person doesn't want to figure it out. The little person wants their dad. And that's what it seems there, because even as she's moving on in life, she's just visiting her dad's side. Yeah. Yes, she goes and she talks to her mom, but she's like, okay, I'm just talking to you. Mm-hmm. Like, I think again, it's a lot of resentimiento there.
I think in this situation, if the mom would have put up boundaries earlier and set them up for success, none of this would have happened. I think that the mom should have spoken up for the daughter, for OP, and been like, hey, this is not working. Give me a moment. That she's my child. She's my full blood. Let me figure it out and let me put her first before I start making something new. Because the way that she's talking, which I don't know, right? She has her own version of the story. Her mom probably has another version of the story. Mm-hmm. But the way that she is bringing it up, it almost seems like she felt, I don't want to say neglected, but she felt pushed out of the family.
Which I can see that. Yes. Like what you are saying, like, like she probably, in her way, she does think like, oh, my dad was replaced. I was replaced. They get to have a whole family because there's a mom, there's a dad, and there's 2 girls that have the same mom, that have the same dad. I'm the only one
left out. Like, I'm the black sheep.
I can see that. Pero I don't think... I don't know, based on how this was written, I don't feel like they made her feel like that. I feel like she from the beginning made herself feel like that.
I think so too.
Because she couldn't get over, or not over, but like she couldn't get past
her father's
death.
And I also think that if there was a clear boundary between the mother and the stepfather, between themselves, I don't think the ultimatum would have ever happened.
Yeah, that was like stupid.
That was so dumb.
I'm like, okay.
Like, first of all, this is
back to the question that we're in. The mom spoke out of her emotions.
Oh, for sure.
The mom spoke out of emotions. She was talking out of
anger.
Yeah, she was talking out of anger, and she said what she said. And unfortunately, cuando una persona ya tiene todo ese resentimiento, cuando una persona ya se siente de toda esa manera, y venís tú y le decís algo, esos son killer words.
Oh, for sure.
Entonces, obviamente, que now she's just like, oh, you just confirm everything that I have felt before. You guys are a family and I'm not. You are so quickly to just kick me out of your family because I was never part of it. So you just confirm everything that she was feeling for so long. And so para mí es como que like, okay, that was messed up and the mom needs to reevaluate her in the sense of like, espérate, ¿qué yo hice con mi hija? And so I feel like she needs to evaluate her, pero a la misma vez I feel like let's give people some space para que se arrepienten de lo que han dicho y lo que han hecho. And I feel like she's just like, nope, you can't take that back. You said it, you hurt me, and no, you have no redemption.
Yeah.
Y allí creo, that's why I can't give her the not the jerk part, porque no le estás dando space to like arrepentirse.
Yeah, and it doesn't say how old she is now.
She's 25. My 25 female dad. Yes.
Oh, sí, she's 25.
She's 25.
Okay, there's a small edit, and it says, "Thank you for the perspectives, both from those that voted not the jerk and those that voted you're the jerk. It was interesting to read the dichotomy, and as I've been stuck in airports all day, it has given me some time and a starting place to think through my next move. For those triggered into becoming incoherently verbally abusive in my inbox, my best wishes for overcoming whatever difficulty is plaguing your psyche, and thank you for providing a few anonymous examples to add to an upcoming lecture on various forms of cyberbullying. I will discuss the potential impact with a few trusted family members on that side first and not make a snap decision, but I think I would prefer to simply end the debate myself and close the door on contact with my mom for the foreseeable future instead of dragging this out while she dithers about and whether she's allowed to see me or not. Maybe it can be reopened at some point in the future if everyone is amenable once there's been a chance to process and reflect. But even if not, I have no doubt that things will work out as they should." That's sad and upsetting that she decided to, you know what? It's just not worth it. It's not worth for me to fix the relationship with my mother to the point that it's just easier to cut contact than to fix it. Which honestly, that is the easier choice, right?
Yeah.
Because it's hard to put in the work. It's hard to maintain a relationship. And she's been feeling like this for a while, for a long time. Yeah. Primarily the most influential times of her life. Yeah. From when she was so young to now that she's a full-grown adult, to where I can see why her choice makes sense. Is it something that I think she should do? No. I don't think she should cut contact with her mom because of this, because of emotions.
It depends.
I don't think it's something that her mother meant. Clearly, it wasn't her idea. It came from her stepfather. But once you put somebody else above somebody who's already hurting, who already feels some sort of way, like you said, like you just confirmed everything that I've been feeling. It makes sense why she made that choice. Yeah. Unfortunately. But it does make sense.
I think that there's a lot of more things that are rooted into the decision that she's making. Pero I feel for her. It's so sad.
It does. Yeah.
Because I feel like, sad. I mean,
because if you think about it, it's not so much that she's like, I'm cutting contact with my mom. I think she's also saying of like, not only am I cutting contact with my mom, I'm cutting contact with my mom because she married this man. She's easily manipulated by him, and whatever choice she makes, she can't separate herself from her marriage to be like, I am her mom. I'm also a wife and whatever, so she knows that she will be influenced for the rest of her life. If she has a relationship with her mom, do you really think she'll never bring him up again? Do you really think she'll never say, oh, my family's doing good? Like, oh, your stepdad's doing great. Or your stepsisters are going to college. You think she'll never say something like that again?
No, of course she will.
So she will. And she's like, that's something that I also don't want to hear. So not only am I cutting contact with you, I'm cutting contact with any future update, any future information, unwanted information from that side of the family. And because you're part of that and you're not going to let that go and you're not going to stop, I have to cut contact with you.
It's
as hard as it is. Is it right? I don't think it's right.
I don't like this for anyone. I don't like this for the mom. Yeah. I don't like this for her. I feel like there's a lot of, again, they're acting based out of a base of resentimiento.
Yeah, a lot of hurt.
A lot of hurt in there. And that is why I'm like, I don't even have words, because it's like,
it's sad.
It's sad. Like,
okay.
I don't know.
So
again, back to the question, I feel like, I'm sorry, like like
you might be
just because you did not give even the space for your mom to hey, let me, I'm so sorry, that's not what I meant. Like you're like, no, you didn't mean that. Like, no, you need to stick to that. And that's the part where I'm like,
that was a little immature and petty.
Yeah, like, dude, you're gonna make mistakes at one point, and you're gonna want somebody to have grace, like to give you grace. You're gonna want somebody to hear you out. So do that to somebody else too. Like, allow them to say sorry, and now let me see how you redeem yourself. You say you're sorry, you say you didn't mean that, okay, that's fine, but now
let me see you put in the work.
Put in the work. You know that I'm a grown woman, I'm 25, you know I don't like this man, you know that I know those are your kids too, but I do not see them as that. This is where I am, but like, I want to see you, and make this work. Let me make me feel like you also care about me. Like, I'm also your priority. That's the point
I was gonna say.
You know what I mean? And so, the mom should put in that work, but also she should put in the work for herself. But I go to therapy, seek Jesus. Do whatever it is that you need to do to be able también como de like arrancar ese hurt, or like remove that hurt in somehow, some way, so that you're able to see a different perspective. Because what if you were wrong the whole time?
Yeah.
And you missed out on having a stepdad that could have been like a dad, and you missed out on having sisters.
Maybe. I think that this situation made it clear to her that, hey, like, my thoughts and my emotions were not a priority to my mom.
Yeah. And
clearly they weren't this whole time. This only confirms it. So I'm going to take myself out of this position. Yeah. So somebody said, first, OP, make sure to block your mom's husband. If something happens to your mom, you'll hear about it via her parents or other members of her family. And meanwhile, you'll never have to see any screeds from him again. Second, notwithstanding her ultimatum, you left the door open. You told mom she could visit you solo any time of the year she wanted. It's not your fault that she chose not to walk through it. When was the last time your mother visited you? At this point, you can reasonably do as you please, whatever that is. It would be fair to say, for instance, hey, if mom is willing to make the effort to come visit me solo, I'll talk with her. At this point, it's not crazy to put some onus on her after all the nonsense she put you through.
All the nonsense she put you through? What was all the nonsense?
I don't know about that. Yeah. But it says, there's somebody else that says, not the jerk. You're an adult and have boundaries. Your stepfather gave your mom an ultimatum, and then she gave you an ultimatum in which you called her bluff. Now, a year later, she is retracting that statement and harassing you. She doesn't get to act all flippy-floppy because she didn't do a good job at blending her partner into the family and ensuring that he respects your decisions.
Okay, I agree with that.
He also doesn't have the right to message you, calling you a jerk when he started all of this in the first place.
I don't think so.
Don't listen to the other comments because, again, it is your life and you can have...
Don't listen to the other comments, but listen to mine?
You can... It says you can have boundaries and decide who you want to associate with or not. Tell your grandparents that she isn't in a difficult place. She just doesn't have the gall to put her foot down. Spend time with your dad's family and your mom's extended family, and she can scratch her head in the future when she realizes that she messed her relationship up with one of her children. I don't know. I think that there's trauma here that needs to be unpacked.
Yes.
You need to go to therapy.
Yes.
You need to have a one-on-one with Jesus.
Yes.
And you need to talk through your emotions and your thoughts. Yeah. Have you actually sat down and talked to your mother and be like, hey, this is why I'm hurting. Hey, this is why I don't want to be involved.
Yeah.
Hey, like, this upset me. Have you actually talked to your mom and given her the chance and the opportunity to be like, see it from my point of view?
Yeah.
I understand you started a whole other family, but did you take me into consideration into this family? Did you take my thoughts and my emotions into the family? I know there's people out there that they're like, if my kid doesn't like you, I'm not marrying you. I have heard stories like that before. And it's because, don't get me wrong,
like, sometimes a kid don't like anyone.
And that too. There's definitely points that I'm like, okay, there's a reason. And honestly, I think that if that was my case, I would rather respect my child's wishes than a future partner that I'm still not fully attached to, because I birthed this child. Now, am I going to give reason to a 5-year-old that doesn't know better? No. But if there's some valid points, I'm going to take a chance, and I'm going to consider their thoughts and their emotions and feelings, because now they have to be a part of this family unwillingly. They cannot take care for themselves. They cannot work. They cannot do money for themselves. But I think, as a parent, you try to do the best you can with the cards that you're dealt. And I feel like maybe she thought, I need to bring another man into this household to step up and take the lead as a father. I just think that she let it go to the point that she didn't do a good job in blending her family.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I definitely think that obviously the mom had some fault in this, because I do feel like she was responsible to blend them together correctly. And like you said, even if you're trying and you do not see any progress, and you see that instead of
force something,
you can't force it, but also be like, hey, I've done everything that I possibly could. I have great intentions for your kid. Your kid doesn't like me. Did none of y'all think like she has some resentment? Mm-hmm. Did none of y'all think that she's still grieving? Mm-hmm. Did none of y'all think like, hey, let's get some help? Whether that is like different types of resources, counselors, therapy, church, whatever the case may be. None of y'all could think that.
Clearly
like
not.
To me, it's like, yes, I'm a big believer in like, remember yourself as an individual. Two, not just as a mom, not just as a wife.
For
like,
sure.
Remember yourself. And me imagino yo que si la mujer se quiso casar otra vez porque she wanted to, like, hey, I'm still young. I want to marry. I still want to love. Like, my husband died. That's so sad. Okay, I grieved, but I'm ready to move on and look for another love. And I don't think that she's wrong in that.
I don't think she's wrong either.
But
my question is,
I feel like,
did she take her daughter's thoughts and opinions into consideration? Did she take her future into consideration?
Yeah. Esa parte that I'm just like, you could have done better. But then hearing all of these people like in the comments and stuff like that talking about like, oh, like your mother, effed around and she found out.
But you gotta remember, this is Reddit. People are so fast to say, yes, go no contact.
Pero that's not just Reddit though. These are people that are living out in the street.
Yeah.
They go to Reddit y se desquitan todo lo que se quieren desquitar. Pero these are people who actually live, and there's a lot more people that think like this. Then think of like, hey,
work on it.
Maybe she messed up. Maybe she said something that she wasn't supposed to. But maybe she is sorry and she wants to make it up somehow, some way. So I don't know. This story stress me out. Ya no quiero hablar de esto. On to the next section. We're gonna go into our favorite song of the week. Are you ready, Memele?
Yes. Mine is called Más de Ti, Lado B by Un Corazón en Lead. Let me put it the volume. Okay. Perfecto, me pudo alcanzar tu amor. No quiero vivir sin ti, prometo seguir aquí, mis ojos puestos en ti. Aquí me quiero quedar, prometo siempre buscar primero tu voluntad. Wait. Stop! I can't stop it. You've never heard this song?
I've never heard
I'm about to play it for you. This song hits. Yeah. This song, honestly, I love this song because it's really hype, but I can't help sometimes, especially when that part comes on, I can't help but feel guilty.
Why?
Because I've told you this for a while now, for like maybe a year or two. Honestly, since the big move happened, where I feel like I just cannot do enough. Like I feel like in anything that I do, like I could be doing more.
Yeah.
And whenever that part comes on, it's like it says, prometo seguirte a ti. Estoy aquí de día y de noche. Quiero para siempre. And I'm just like, oh my God, like I did. When I made that choice to follow you, I promised to follow you, day and night, to be there next to you and follow you no matter, if I'm unsure, like I promise to have faith in you and give my life and not just trust in my own strength and will. And it's kind of hard when you're living real life.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I like this song. Want to hear when we get out of this podcast? All right. My favorite song of the week is going to be Tú Conmigo Estás by Redimidos.
Okay.
Featuring... Hold on. It's featuring someone and it doesn't come up. Featuring Abby Valdez.
Okay. Okay. Okay, you need to send me the song. I need to send you my song.
Yes.
This is the first time that's ever happened.
Yeah. Okay, so es más que obvio. It says Tú Conmigo Estás.
You're with me.
And it's like, I'm a very like picturesque person. Like as people are talking, I like to like picture it. Dice, aunque vayan, anden en el valle. And it's like literally like even I'm in the mountains, or if I'm like down at the valley, like where nobody is or lo que sea, like even if I have the whole world against me because I believe in you or because of whatever the case may be, even if people do not respect my boundaries and because they don't respect my boundaries, they get upset and they want to call me out of their lives or whatever the case may be, like tu presencia me rodea, tú siempre estás. Like I will never feel alone again, because I know that at the end of the day, he's with me. He is never going to leave me. He is never going to forsake me. He knows me. He loves me. He sees me. And it's like a reminder of like, yes. And all of those things suck. Yeah. If that happens, like where people like come out of your life, that sucks. But at the end of the day, God is with me. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
All right. Anything that you want to leave the people with regarding boundaries?
If you don't speak up and say something and let the person know, hey, this is a boundary, how will they know to respect it?
Yep.
How will they know not to cross it?
Yep.
I was one of those that I did not want to speak up. I did not want to say, hey, this is a boundary. Like that one boundary that we were talking about earlier, it took me like a couple years to bring that boundary up to this specific person. And when I did, it was because I was on my breaking point. Yeah. But it didn't have to be like that. I could have spoken up earlier. But that would be my thing. Do not be afraid to put up boundaries. Like, do not be afraid to speak up. Even when Jesus was here and he would tell his disciples, hey, I'm gonna need you to leave me alone for a second. This is one-on-one time with me and the Lord. Yeah. And they'd be like, but we want to follow you. No, I said no.
Yeah, y'all stay behind.
Y'all need to wait here. Like, this is my time a tiempo solas con Jesus. Con God. Con God. And they respected that, but that's because he let them know. Yeah. Because if you didn't, they'd be following him everywhere.
I'll be like, y'all,
give me a minute.
Give me some space. Yes. No, I agree. Just, it's okay for you to have boundaries. Yes. But it's okay also to remember the values that were installed in you. Yeah. Remember to give grace to people. So give the space and in moment of someone que arrepentirse de lo que haya dicho, de lo que haya hecho, and like, just keep going. Like, it's okay. And then don't be mad when people set boundaries for you. So that is it for today's podcast. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.